If you had $1 to invest, would you invest it in gun control or the help of the mentally ill? Pastor Michael Mudloff in the house today, live on The View from a Pew on KTIA, Iowa.
Let's get it started. Ha! Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Ha! Let's get it started in here. Yeah.
Let's get it started in here.
Welcome to The View from a Pew, a conversation among Christians who are out to grow their faith by asking the simple questions, the tough questions, and the stuff you really wish your pastor would talk about. Come on now, let's reason together. It's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so join the conversation. Call 855-244-0077. That's 855-244-0077. Now, here's your host, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, 4 minutes after 3 o'clock, and Pastor Michael Mudloff in the house today as we ask the tough questions. The ones you'd like to ask your pastor, the ones that you don't know the answer to. Obviously, this is a string from the tragic shooting in Connecticut, but I'm going to move the conversation on. If you only had one vote, if you only had $1, if you could only do something about the mentally ill or gun control, where would you invest your vote or invest your dollar? Because I'm telling you right now, the liberals are going to rail this gun control thing to a frost. What's that called that comes out of a horse's mouth? Froth. That's right. It's going to come to a froth because the liberals now believe that because of Connecticut, because you know the problem, right? I mean, cars kill people, not drunk drivers. My spoon makes me fat, not my decision to eat too much, and guns kill people. And if we don't shut them down now, and I say that with the fervor that I want in my heart, if we don't shut this down, we're going to have gun control that is absolutely unconstitutional. And we're going to let them railroad it in on the souls of 27 people. Now, Pastor Mudloff would like a third choice.
Well, if those are my only two options, then I'm going third party candidate.
Well, okay, so what would it be? One vote or $1?
Well, I guess what I was reminded of was the first book, I think, published by the United States government at the inception of our country was the Bible, and it was published for the purpose of education in the public schools. And I think that if I wanted to make an impact that's going to have eternal difference, then I'm going to invest my money in evangelism and sharing the gospel with people, because that's the only way hearts are going to be changed. God is still about the business of saving people, saving souls, and he does that through the means of the preaching of the word, through the spreading of the gospel, through people like me and you, telling others about who Jesus is, what he's done for us on the cross, and how we've put our faith and trust in him. Lives change that way. That's the only thing. We have a spiritual problem in our country, and that's the problem that needs addressing. Am I opposed to advances in mental health field? Of course not. Make a lot of referrals to counselors in our community that I trust, with folks in the congregation and other people that I talk to who have needs that are beyond my ability to help them work through, and they need help. I think a pastor is only as good as his referral network. A lot of pastors, I think they can solve everybody's problems and they're the best counselor around, but I don't. So I think that I'm for getting people help, and I think counseling is a good avenue for that. My dad is a lifetime member of the NRA. I grew up with guns all my life. Feel comfortable around firearms. Not at all convinced that banning firearms or increasing the level of what we have going on here with gun control is going to solve this problem. It's a spiritual problem.
Well, and I think it comes down to we have to really remove our emotion and look at what the Bill of Rights says. look at what, the Second Amendment says.
That's not politically expedient, Mac. I mean, everybody in Washington's looking for an angle on this right now so they can make some political hay with it. And the media is going to beat us up with this story until we grow weary of it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not saying it's not worthy. Of course it's worthy. It's a national tragedy. We haven't had a tragedy of this proportion since 9/11. But it's and there are things that need to be done. And things that need to be done in the area of gun control and the area of mental health issues. But ultimately, and I think, President Obama probably said something right when he seemed to be suggesting that, our country, our nation has a problem that needs to be fixed. Now, again, I think the agenda is primarily going to be gun control, like you said, but I think that's a Band-Aid. It's going to get people elected or people not reelected, and then a few years down the road, after they've done whatever they're going to do, we'll all discover that it didn't solve anything.
Yeah, there will be another shooting.
Sure, there will.
Well,
or bombing, or you name it.
Yeah. And with the media exposure that these things get, I mean, this is going to be 24/7 for a good several days after the last funeral.
Well,
then anybody can look on the news and say, this is how you get attention du jour.
Well, the colonel from the Connecticut State Patrol that has been doing all the press conferences, in his last press conference, he says there's an overwhelming desire by the residents of Newtown that the press please leave. We don't need you here anymore.
Yeah.
What's done has been done. The only thing that's going to report anything now is a scientist or a policeman. There's nothing for you to see here. They already had two. I don't think they were arrested. What were they? We talked about this yesterday for trespassing.
Oh, reporters.
Yeah, they had reporters who were going on the land of some of the victims, and the Connecticut State Patrol said, clearly, you do not do that. And they either arrested two or gave two citations.
That's good.
So now they're calling for the press just to leave the town.
Yeah.
Just leave us alone.
See, the press will do whatever they can to get a story. When I was in Sioux City for the plane crash in 1989, ages ago, we had media people that would get helicopters and try to take photos into the morgue. And we also had one get into a military uniform, guard uniform, get in. But we caught him when the camera came out.
Sure.
And then he was caught. But they'll do anything to get in there and get a story.
Yeah.
And so that's what's happening out there. And they'll do anything to interview anybody from the town to get a story. What do you think? What do you think about this? What do you think about this?
Well, Sunday morning from the pulpit, I felt compelled to address this a little bit. And one of the things I said is that, I went to get an update on the news before I preached. And half the article I read online was just retracting all of the false information that had already been reported on this event.
The mother worked at the school.
Right. The brother.
The brother was involved.
Was the one
he
that
killed
did
the
it.
father first.
Yeah.
Fake IDs.
All that stuff. So, that's what we've come to expect from the media, and unfortunately, most Americans, I think, still bite.
Well, and what's interesting is that very same day in China, 22 kids were murdered by a knife. A knife-wielding man in a school in China.
See, that story got blown out, too, because it turned out nobody died. They were just stabbed, and there was 22 wounded kids is what the official story, I think, now is. But it's the same thing. A bunch of information came out, and people shaped it to what they wanted. A lot of the gun people have been propagating that story as if that's the akin when they're in a different context and have a different culture and are dealing with different issues.
Yeah.
See, I don't know why the conversation isn't about mental health. It shouldn't be about guns.
How about a culture of death as opposed to even mental health? Because the mental health part of it was part of it, but if we didn't have a culture that was murdering unborn babies at a rate that only 20 in one day would be a blessing.
Yeah.
Compared to the thousands that are dying each day.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of those days I get to tell you I told you so. I mean, I have been preaching for, let me see, I'm 53, so 23. I've been preaching for probably 25 years that these darn video games are no good for the kids, that they sit in front of these TVs and they learn how to kill people, but it's not real, quote unquote. It's not real. And they would compare it to watching Tom and Jerry or the Roadrunner cartoons. It's not real. Well, the point is, the kid can't figure that out. He doesn't know the difference between reality. He knows he's got something in his hand, he's pulling the trigger, and people die, and that's entertainment. And you're rewarded for killing people.
And at the end of the game, you can start over and do the same thing over again. There's no actual realization of what is being done.
Well, there's no value for life.
Let's back up a second, though. The Tom and Jerry thing isn't an invalid point just because it seems better. It may be the beginning of a slippery slope. I mean, just because somebody says, well, Tom and Jerry was violent, I would say, yeah, it is, and it spawned a generation that took violence to the next level. It's a slippery slope, sin always is, and here we are at the culmination of it where it seems acceptable when you aren't popular to go out and kill a bunch of people and become famous in death.
Because they harassed you and they bullied you, so
well,
you can get a gun and killed.
I don't even know if it's that. I mean, it's hard telling what this guy snapped. I think what we need to, instead of mental health or guns, I liked what Pastor Mudloff said. We need to look at evangelism. What's wrong with this country is a heart issue. It can only be addressed with the restorative power of the gospel, and we as a church need to be out there preaching the gospel.
Well, and I liked the argument that Michael Huckabee has been pressed into by obviously people who are rearranging his words. But basically, the question was asked to Mike Huckabee, where was God? And Mike Huckabee's rather flippant answer was, well, he's not invited in school anymore. Why would you expect him to be there? And then, of course, the liberal atheist heathens. Rah, 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 rah. But the truth of the matter is, how truthful is that?
I don't know. I mean, he made a true statement. I just got an email from a family from church today. Their son-in-law is in Afghanistan. He's no longer in the army. He's now a government contractor.
Ooh.
So he does what he did before. He just gets paid more.
Right.
And
it's very
one of our local. Oh, it is very. It doesn't matter. He still wears a uniform, and he's big and he looks like an American. So he's a target. And so the gist of the email was that he and several of the other workers, soldiers, whatever they are, contractors, taped some TV commercials for the holidays that are going to be broadcast here locally, where they get to say, "Hi, I'm so and so from so and so. I want to wish."
Yeah.
They were told by the TV station, "You may not say Merry Christmas. You have to only say Happy Holidays or Season's Greetings."
That's our government.
Or we won't show it.
That's our government.
So, I think that was the media, but it could be from government influence. I don't think there's any denying that there is a concerted effort through several different liberal constituencies in our country to rid our nation of its Christian moorings.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is classic accuser stuff. I mean, he goes after God every place he can. And he goes in and slaughters these 27 people in this school and then throws guns in the air and mental illness in the air and God in the air. And he's just laughing. He reminds me of the Joker in Batman. He's just laughing hysterically because he's got us all by the tail.
Yeah, see, Think Free stated it's like a frog in the pot. He's been listening to outrageous things here and doesn't even shock him anymore.
Yeah.
So it's you don't even realize these things are coming up, but our rights and everything's being taken away.
Yeah.
And then eventually, it's gone. You didn't realize it.
And it's too late.
All right, 17 after the hour, we're coming back. Pastor Michael Mudloff in the house, Army Brad, Father Tattoo, Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat watching the chat, and me. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and I want to hear from you. Pick up the phone, call. It's on my dime, 1-855-244-0077. Don't be that timid, quiet little Christian hiding behind your doily cloth. What do you think about this? This is your chance to speak out, and it's your voice I want to hear this afternoon. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I'm administrative manager.
I am the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going, though. I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Well, we have too. Join the conversation. Call 855-244-0077. Now here's your host, president of the Not a Good Enough Christian Club, J. Michael McCoy.
21 minutes after the hour, and we are happy to find you here in our midst on this afternoon. Pastor Michael Mudloff is our presiding guest, and of course his show comes on at 4:03 every day, in which he is the host of. It's called True Blue. And what are you talking about today?
We are on our Advent series, which is a series called The Mothers of the Messiah, and explores the women that are present in the genealogy of Jesus that Matthew gives us in the first chapter of the Gospel.
Somebody else was preaching on that the other day.
No.
Yeah, they were. They were.
What are they? I suppose they're listening to my shows, and then
I think so. I think it was Robbie Zachariah.
Oh yeah, right.
I think it was him.
Yeah, I'm sure he's listening.
But it was a national host.
No, it's a fascinating genealogy, and I think the gist of it is, you know, we come upon these genealogies in Scripture, and we kind of we skip over them.
Yeah, because they're big names
they're boring,
and
we can't pronounce it, and it goes on and on and on. But Matthew chose to give us this genealogy at the very beginning of his gospel, which means, you know, it's there for a reason. It's important, and there's some fascinating little nuggets in it, including the names of some women. And so the series focuses on the women that are present in the genealogy. 4 out of 5 of them are not Hebrew women; they're Gentiles. I think that's a foreshadowing of Jesus' ultimate purpose to save the world, to come for people of all nations, and they all are involved in a scandal. You have Tamar and her dalliance with her father-in-law. You have Bathsheba, who's not mentioned by name. She's referred to as the wife of Uriah. in the genealogy. I think that's interesting. There's Rahab and Ruth, and then Mary, the mother of Jesus. And, of course, sexual scandal surrounds each one of those figures.
Who's the hot babe from Jericho?
The hot babe from Jericho?
Yeah, the only one that gave her life. Rahab.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like her. She's my kind of gal.
Are you just basing that she was hot because she was a prostitute?
Because have you seen prostitutes?
We could take this. We could take this, Mac, to its logical conclusion. It might not be good for you.
Oh well, that's all
she's
right.
my kind of gal. The prostitute, yeah.
Well, I meant because she was the only one
to live,
to give her heart to Christ and then help guide the Israelites.
All of those women in this genealogy.
See where your brain went.
See
where your brain went.
Yeah, blame it on me.
I brought the subject up.
Oh, thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
I don't want to get the pastor in trouble.
Yeah.
All right, I want to have this conversation with you, Father Tattoo.
Oh boy,
because I want to make a point here.
I think the other three of us here had enough of that during the break.
Well,
can we vote?
Yes, we can vote. But I think it's important that he understand where he's wrong.
Okay,
that's not going to happen though.
Because Mike Huckabee,
it's not going to happen.
Mike Huckabee was off the cuff asked where was God?
Yes,
in Sandytown or whatever it's called. And Newtown, Connecticut. Hook. And Mike Huckabee's answer was, well, he wasn't invited to school.
Yes.
And I believe that's true.
Well, I believe that's true. He wasn't invited.
But then you go on and say, but you can't take God out of everything.
You can't.
Okay, let me just help you. I want you to, you know how you do such a
Help me take God out? Why would you want to help somebody take God out?
You know how you do such a good job of walking people through the Creator and how there is a God? How could there not be a God?
Yes, I use a presuppositional argument to go through that, yes.
If you were never allowed to speak of God,
he would still exist.
If you interrupt me one more time, I'm going to rip your tattoo off.
Okay.
With a parsley knife.
Please carry on. If we are not allowed to speak of God.
If we are not allowed to speak of God, and 3 generations go past who have never heard of God, never seen the Bible, never been to a church, churches are knocked down, Scripture's not spoken. Where is God?
God is the same place he always was.
Okay, but where is he for you?
Where is he for me? He would be present because
don't know him.
In Romans 1:18, for the attributes of God have been made plain to us, so that those who would suppress the truth in unrighteousness, God is God, regardless of whether we
3 generations from now, if he was never...
I hate it when he starts bringing out Scripture.
It doesn't matter, Mac.
See,
God has made the pagans in the Mayan temple knew God existed, and in their unrighteousness they suppressed that truth and worship pagan gods. God is not probable, he is not erasable, he is omnipresent, omnipotent, and he is God.
Okay.
You can't erase God. It's impossible.
If nobody can speak of him for 3 generations, then he's not present.
He would still be God.
Right, but nobody knows him.
But it doesn't matter.
What do you mean? Wait, Matthew 28, you just threw it out the window.
Matthew 1:18 through 23, and I didn't throw it out the window. I'm saying it doesn't matter if we couldn't speak of him. We know God. Okay. Now, we may not know Jesus' name.
And this is why Christians are failing in this world, because they think like you.
Because they think like me?
Yes.
They think God is not a probable thing to be talked about?
They think it's okay if God disappears from schools.
I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying
sure, you're saying take God out of schools and God's still here. So the liberals say, well, take God out of the state houses. Well, good, then he's not there. Take God out of hospitals, then he's not there. We don't need churches anymore. Take God out of churches.
The fallacy
Eventually,
of that logic.
you lose.
I don't lose. I can't lose. I believe in a God that is incapable of loss because he's God. I don't want to take him out of school. I want our kids to be able to pray to him.
Then fight for his name to be present.
I do. I'm on a radio show where I proclaim the name of God everywhere. But I'm saying that we don't have an effect in government because we don't have an effect in the church, and we need to get back to evangelizing.
But you're not offended by God being taken out of our schools.
Because the God that you're talking about, this probable God that can be erased, doesn't exist, and I don't want him there either.
Okay.
I want a real God that exists.
Okay. Just like, see, this is the same thought process that you had with the election. And the problem is, it's wonderful when you say it, but it fails in reality.
It doesn't fail in reality.
We got Obama for a president. Obviously, your kind failed.
I didn't want Romney. Well, I succeeded.
Would you rather have Romney or Obama?
The answer is yes.
Okay, you got Obama because you did nothing.
The answer is yes. The answer was I don't want either one of them, so it doesn't matter to me which one wins.
When you don't want either one of them, you're going to end up with Satan. Because there's more devils out there than there are good people.
Either one of them was Satan.
No.
By your definition, that one of them denied God at the beginning of Genesis, and the other one went along with God until it became inconvenient. They both were apostate,
See, what happens is when
wretches.
you grow up, you're going to realize that, what is he? He's too what? Idealistic.
I don't want to be in the middle of this.
That's what you already are. You're the guest. See, and this is when I say,
so
Pastor, what do you think?
Am I the guest? I don't want to be in the middle of this. You always get in these arguments, and then you ask me.
Well, sure, because you're the expert. This is the view from a pew. You just witnessed an argument between two brothers, sword sharpening swords, and now we come to you, the pastor, and say, help us out. You don't have to say one's right or one's wrong. Just help sort it out. Because Bible Boy over there doesn't know everything he's talking about, and I'm certainly the president of the Not a Good Enough Christian Club. But I think that Matthew 28 makes it invariable that we never allow God to disappear from our society. Never. In every place.
I think that God is sovereign, and He will not allow there to be a situation where there is not a remnant of people who are faithful to Him.
Okay, how did that help the 20 kids?
Well, I'm not sure how any of that last diatribe helped the 20
Well, because if gods and guns were winning, we would have that school would not have been a gun-free zone. You know that mall in Oregon where they had the shooting the week prior?
Yes.
No gun zone. You know that movie theater in Colorado where that kid? No gun zone.
I'm not sure how the gun zone thing is part of the argument
If you're a bad guy and you want to kill people, do you go where you, A, know people can carry guns, or B, know that you're going to be the only gun in the house?
I don't think you can give a straight answer on that, Mac. I think it depends on who the individual is. I'm not sure the fella the young man who killed the kids on Friday was thinking about any of that at all. I don't know that he knew whether it was a gun-free zone or not.
Yeah, I don't either. But
it was. Is it true that it was his elementary school?
Yes.
So it's not like this was a random thing.
No, there's nothing.
I think we don't know what his motives were, and we may never know. We may have some clues, and that stuff will probably be revealed to us. Ultimately, I don't think whether it was a gun zone or not, whether it was a school or not, is relevant.
See,
I think people will kill when they want to kill.
That's right.
See, I'm thinking what you're saying is that we've taken prayer out of school. You know, the kids can't bring Bibles or read the Bible in school, and so therefore, the only way they can get to know God possibly is through church if they go, and they don't find it in the school. And so, you know, he's going to be in the school if I say, you know, what Dan is, but there's not going to be any sign of him there, you know, by having
it. There's no works. I mean, we're dead without our works.
Yeah, there's nothing there that, you know, there's no sign that shows God is in that school.
That's right.
To man, to see that.
I don't mind Mike Huckabee's statement. Was it flippant? I didn't hear it. This is the first I've heard of it.
Well, that's what it was.
And so, was it flippant? And is he going to be, you know, taken to task for it?
Oh, he has
probably
been for the last 24 hours. He started his show today with a conversation on it.
I'm sure he has. And so, but I don't mind the statement. I get what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it would have been any better if he'd had more time to think about it. I'm glad somebody said it.
Well,
it's something that needed to be said, and I'm glad he said it.
All right,
I'm glad he has a forum to say it. But Dan is also correct in that you don't need a photo or a sign or a Bible in a place for God to be there.
Right.
Right.
I agree.
So So I think you guys are just arguing around one another.
But having a personal relationship with God that you can't talk about or share with anybody defeats Matthew 28, which is the Great Commission. Therefore, what are we doing? We're just sitting in closets.
We are instructed as Christians to continue to do that regardless of state or public persecution. The blood of the saints is the seed of the church. If they suppress it to that point, Mac, I expect an explosion.
All right, let's go to the phones where Kimberly is standing by. Kimberly, you're live on The View from a Pew. How are you?
Help us out here, Kimberly.
How are you, Mac?
Good.
And Father Tattoo, how are you? You know, boys, I'm listening to this conversation, and I'm like, it's semantics. I mean, it seems like you're both on the same page, but one is a little bit in front of it, and one is a little back of it. First of all, in my opinion, God isn't in a building. It's in a heart. And if God is in a heart, then, and those children were taught at home about God, then he was in that building. But there's always a conflict between God and the devil, and they're always going to be in the same place. And, you know, you could go on and on about this because I've got so many opinions and everybody else does too. If someone wants a gun, they're going to get one. If someone wants to kill, they're going to get one. But to me, what you're talking about is the same thing. You both believe. It's like, you know, my father was raised very poor, didn't know what a salad fork was till he went out and saw everybody had a salad fork. I mean, I do believe, Father Tattoo, when you say, I think innately, even if we aren't taught about God, we think about where did we come from? I mean, there's got to be something more. So I don't believe that God's ever going to be out of our hearts. I think we're innately aware of something greater.
All right, Kimberly, I appreciate the call. Perfect timing as we now get ready to go to a break. And the number is 1-855-244-0077, or you can jump on Facebook or jump on the chat at theviewfromapew.com. Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, watching the chat. We'd always like to hear from you here. All right, Pastor Michael Mudloff is our guest. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation, which is about where God is in such a crisis as this. And what are we doing as Christians to make sure that God is out front and being absolutely honest to all people?
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I'm administrative manager.
I'm the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed rider it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me. But is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going, though. I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
From the RE/MAX
If you sit in the back pew or the front pew, it's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
3:38, 22 before the top. Salem Radio Network news at the top, and then magically, Pastor Michael Mudloff will reappear in the pulpit for the show today, and you're doing a series in Advent about the lineage of the women of the Bible.
No, the lineage of Jesus in Matthew, where women are mentioned in the lineage.
I was close.
It's very fascinating.
All right,
because not many women are mentioned
in genealogies at all. Yeah.
All right, we're going to go to our phones. We've got Tom and Deb holding on. Tom, we're in the middle of this conversation about where was God in that little community in Connecticut last Friday. What you say?
Well, I just wanted to say that guns aren't the only weapons that kill. The Murrow building, when it came down in Oklahoma City, there wasn't a single bullet fired to make that happen, and everything the guy used for his bomb was available in public purchase places. When they had people beaten up at the state fair, the weapon used was numbers. You had a great big number of young men ganging up on usually older individuals who were coming out of the fair, so sheer numbers made themselves into a weapon. So banning guns is not going to stop evil from happening, not by a long shot. I think we need to change our attitudes. I mean, look what Christians put up with in this country. We're allowing 4,000 abortions a day, and now the law says if the baby survives the abortion attempt, we're going to let it die of dehydration. I mean, that's the kind of cruelty we put up with, and we're supposed to be Christians. So people who deny God, what kind of level of cruelty are they willing to accept?
Tom, do you think it would be acceptable to have teachers armed, obviously well-trained and certified, but having teachers armed or having an armed guard at the front of only one entrance into every school?
Well, I like the armed teachers idea because you would pick the ones that feel confident that they could do it, and then you train them well, and just the fact that they're out there, and then you don't publicize which ones are. I mean, it's like conceal and carry. One mugger gets shot because he picks the wrong guy to mug, and that guy had a gun under his coat. Well, guess what? The other muggers are thinking, I don't know if I should mug anybody. They might have a gun under their coat.
Right. Yep.
Well,
the problem with what they got.
Problem with the teacher having a gun is, where is it going to be secured? If you have it that secured, you almost have time for the police to get to it.
Well, you could have like a lockbox built into the desk, and then the teacher has to wear a key on a necklace around her neck, so only she could get to it. Now, granted, if she happens to be the first room the gunman goes into, I don't know that she's got a chance. But if she's at the end of the hallway and hears gunshots, she might. It just all depends on how things happen. But it would increase the chances of a lower body count, I'm sure.
All right, Tom, you're live up in Carroll. Have you got any snow yet?
Not yet. It's supposed to come tomorrow.
Yep, R2. All right, buddy. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, Mac.
All right, let's go to Deb in Johnston. Hi, Deb. You're live on The View from a Pew. How you doing today? What you say?
Hi. I'm doing really well. I have 2 points to make. One is, on where was God, and the other is who's responsible for Barack Obama being in office. And about 2,000 years ago, there were 12 guys sitting around, along with a mother whose heart had just been pierced, asking the same question. Where were you, God? Where are you, God? Do you see? And the man that had been hanging on the cross asked the very same question. My God, why have you forsaken me? God is where he has always been. He is on his throne, performing his will. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, Mac, but Jesus had to be born during the time of Roman rule because they crucified people. And that's how Christ had to die. So when you ask that question, I think Mike Huckabee said, you can't make sense of this because there's no sense to be made of it. You can't make sense out of evil.
Yeah, he said you can't find logical thinking out of people who are not logical in their thinking or not reasonable in their thinking.
So really it is pointless to ask those questions other than, I ask the same questions everybody else is asking. Where is God? Is he good? Yes, he is. We know that he is good. We know that he is merciful. We know where he is. We know he's on his throne. He isn't dead. And whether or not people can say his name doesn't make him alive or dead. Look at the culture that Jesus was born into. People were worshiping meteors that fell out of the sky and, statues and things like that. But as to, what Father Tattoo is, you were kind of pointing the blame at people like Father Tattoo who didn't vote for Barack Obama or Mitt Romney. And I exercise my right to vote. But whoever is controlling the government is appointed by God. And that was true 2,000 years ago. It was true during World War II when Adolf Hitler was in Germany. I mean, I don't know if you feel this way. I've talked to many people who feel this way. I look around and I think, I see things happening, and this must have been how people in Germany felt.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So God does not cease to be God, whether or not we can say his name. I won't stop saying his name if they make it illegal. That won't stop me. But I think he pointed out Romans. The truths of God are plain for everyone to see. It's why those who are opposed to the truth, they're in a frenzy right now.
Deb, thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Mac.
Little common sense in this conversation. I appreciate that.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, let's go to line 107. Marla is standing by. Marla, how are you today? What you say?
Well, I know we can't save the whole world, but there's so much power in prayer when we pray for our loved ones. And I would like to say that I'm retired, but I went back to school, and had I not experienced the marginalization and discrimination in the classroom when I try to when I do stand up for what's right, and the abortion and the homosexuality is so accepted, and the teachers all condone it, that if you do say that it's a sin, that you are marginalized and and you are you get the hate stares. But what distresses me is all these young people, 18 to 20, the way the teachers present it makes you look like you're just narrow-minded.
Mm-hmm. And a bigot.
Oh, and had I not experienced it for myself, I said, nowadays, if there was any way that I could not send my child to a public school, I mean, this is in Central Iowa. I would not send my children to a public school. But I would definitely pray for their minds, because they work that in them. So, well, what distresses me is that the 20-year-olds, the 18 and 20-year-olds, so fully accept that.
Yeah,
and they believe the lie as being the truth. They've told the lie so many times that they've heard nothing else but that lie, that they now accept the lie as being truthful.
Yes, and their feet run so swiftly to believe the lie. And I had a counseling class, and the instructor said, he was going on about homosexuality and all this, and I said, the Bible says that it's a sin, and I said, abortion's a sin. I said, hooking up's a sin. And nobody wants to believe the Word of God, and their minds are really darkened. And what distresses me is how they want this darkness. It's like they embrace it.
Yeah.
And another thing that distresses me is I know that there are other Christians in my class, and I'm thinking, why am I the only one that? I mean, how about a little help there? I mean, we kind of have to band together, and at least I thought one thing. I thought, the instructions going about, how wonderful homosexuality is, and this and that and the other thing, and abortion. And I thought, here's these 20-year-olds, and I'm going to at least make them uncomfortable. I'm going to at least put that in there so that when they think about it, they'll have that measure of discomfort.
Marla, thanks for your call today. I appreciate it. Two different views on the same subject. One that says the Christian's voice is too silent. The other one that says the Christian voice could be completely silent and God is still among us. What's the truth? What's closest to the middle? Where is God in the public schools? We'll talk about that when we come back next. Live here on KTIA, powered by WebcastOneLive.com.
Remax Real Estate Concept Studios. This is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for Him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
If Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of America was your personal webmaster, Tom would filter out all bad debt emails. If Tom was your mailman, you'd never get any debt reduction junk mail. If Tom Coates was a lineman, he'd block any phone calls offering to reduce your credit card debt.
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America, and we're still your best choice for credit counseling. We're local, we're accountable, and we can do more. You make the call when the time's right for you.
When it comes to competition, there really is none for Consumer Credit of America.
From the Remax Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
We're the ones in the pew, not pulpit. Come on now, let's reason together. The phone lines are open, so call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
10 before the top, Salem Radio Network news updates, and then, of course, Pastor Michael Mudloff hosting his program True Blue this afternoon. Going to talk about the lineage of Jesus and the women that were involved with it. That's this afternoon live here at 4:03. But first, we want to go to meteorologist Michael Mudloff with the latest in the weather because something just changed.
Well, yes, we just got an update from the local National Weather Service office saying that the storm warning or the storm watch that had been in effect for tomorrow has now been upgraded to a storm warning. Wednesday 6 p.m. to Thursday 6 p.m., snow and rain to begin around 3 o'clock, and so apparently they're sticking to their story.
It's the real deal.
Yeah,
they got lots of extra salt, though. That's good.
So we'll see what happens. We'll know more tomorrow at this time if anything's happening.
Yeah, but Thursday is going to really be, that's when it's going to get ugly. Thursday.
Well, we're going to get snow all Wednesday night, they're saying, and then the winds will come in and turn it into blizzard-like conditions.
For Thursday.
So it's probably a good idea to start your snowblower tonight just to make sure it works and go get gas.
Yes.
Yeah, go get gas. That's right.
Because the gas in the blowers are probably there all year.
And it might be that two-cycle stuff.
Yeah.
So
mix the oil with the gas.
Yeah, so make sure you got it all together and you're ready.
Wow, you're so smart.
Hey, I'm here to serve.
You're an engine guy.
Not really.
Pastor Michael Mudloff is our guest, and we have been discussing Where Was God last Friday in Connecticut. And Pastor,
we've had some good calls.
Yeah, Father Tattoo and I have a clearly, what would you call it? Well, he's wrong, I'm right. But what would you call that?
Discussion.
Discussion? Okay.
I thought it was more like an argument.
Well, I was trying.
It was getting there.
Well, they both blew a gasket, and then people started calling in. It was kind of exciting.
Yeah. If you're listening online, maybe sitting in the room was a little bit uncomfortable.
Tense, maybe.
Well,
it's a good thing there was glass between them.
I'm never going to give up the fight, and until somebody that I really trust and believe in, and actually it'd probably have to be more than one guy because I'm thick-headed. I'm always going to be that Christian that fights for God in our society.
Don't disagree with that.
I'm not, Mac, you misunderstand. I think maybe we're talking past each other here. I'm not telling you to give up the fight. I think the fight is a very noble and wise thing to do.
But you don't think it makes any difference?
I don't think that voting for addressing just the president issue, I don't think voting for candidate A over candidate B when they both deny God fundamentally is much of a choice at all. And so I picked a guy named Virgil Good who seemed to have a good understanding who God was. That's not being silent. That's vastly different. And in this situation, I'm not saying we should take God out of schools. In fact, I go so far as to send my kids to Christian school where God is distinctly the center of that school. But I'm saying that even if they were successful in that, God still remains. It doesn't. My whole point isn't whether we should or shouldn't. It's that God still is. It's the sovereignty of God versus a probable God that may or may not be there or did or did not show up. God was there, and it was his plan.
But see, if I'm your opposition in Congress, I look at you and you say, well, then it doesn't matter whether you're able to talk about God or not because your God is still as present if you talk about him or not.
But you're thinking about this in a political sense, and I'm thinking about it from an evangelical sense.
We're fighting a political war here. We're not fighting an evangelical war.
I'm not.
Mac,
and that's where I'm fighting in a different realm. I do not care about our politics.
You're not talking about what I'm talking about.
You're not on the same road, but you're trying to get to the same place, and you're trying to give him the directions for you to get there.
Yeah.
And your directions are going to take him off course.
Yours is evangelical and mine is political.
Well, I'm more concerned about the politics in the church and the policies of the church because that's where we're so far away. That is the, you know how we were talking about how the Roadrunner may have been the beginning of a slippery slope for the violent video games we have today. I think the beginning of the slippery slope that you see in politics, the effects you see in politics, start with an apostate church. And so I am interested in having discussions amongst brothers about how we can shore up and firm up the theology of the church so that we aren't falling for these traps.
And while you guys are all standing around in your little monk outfits in church talking amongst you, the politicians are outside taking your crosses down and nailing the doors shut.
But here's the deal. If we
understand
if we don't get it right in the church, nobody goes to heaven, Mac. Mm-hmm. And what's more important, the guy, like Pastor Mudloff said, the means to salvation are the works of the church. And if the church is apostate and does no works, your politics matter not at all.
So if you can't say a word and you can't preach the gospel and you can't share God's word, there is no soul saved.
There is no government in this world that can stop the word of God. That is my point. It is not.
And when they try,
say that to an Iranian.
I will
say that to a Christian Iranian.
Look at China. Okay, look at China. China said you cannot say God, and the church is exploding there. This is factual, Mac. This isn't speculation. The blood of the saints is the seed of the church, and it is an unfortunate and horrible, horrendous situation in which this happens. But even that, God is sovereign and takes care of those whom he loves.
I'm sorry, you're a better Christian than I am.
I'm not trying to be a
boots on the ground. I got dirt under my fingernails. I got blood coming out of my pores.
The problem is you're not on the ground. You're 30,000 feet up talking about politics.
Oh, no. I'm on the ground. You're the one 30,000 feet up. You're amongst the brothers saying, how do we save souls? It doesn't matter what Satan does on the earth. How do we save souls? Who's your enemy? Satan.
How does Satan become? First of all, Satan is bound, and I'm not going to enter into this argument.
Tell that to the 20 dead kids that he was bound.
Satan is bound.
That God could not. God had them in his hands.
God, he did.
Oh, okay. Well, tell that to the 40 parents.
I just did.
Say that Satan had nothing to do with that. That he's bound.
I didn't say he had nothing to do with it.
You said he was bound.
Oh my God.
Was he bound or not,
Mac? Being bound doesn't mean Satan isn't effectual. He is.
Hey, what does it mean?
God,
then?
Satan. The devil is God's devil. He is not free to do as he pleases. Even to attack Job, the devil had to ask God's permission, and this is before Christ conquered sin.
Pastor, will you bound me?
Will I bound you
from him?
I close the door.
Please
take your earbuds out.
All right. Well, here we go. It's a Tuesday evening in the central Iowa, nice little quiet neighborhood among the Christians and the Protestants and the Catholics and the Jews, and then there's super Christian Dan.
Oh, when I'm super Christian, I'm by my first name, my Christian name.
Yes, okay. You're by your Christian name, of course. That
okay.
Would be it. Pastor Mudloff, did you enjoy yourself today?
Not really.
Okay. Would you like to come back tomorrow?
I can't come back tomorrow, but I will come again.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Army Brad, thanks for being here. Bob, thank you for being here. And just pray for those families. And I'll tell you what I'm going to pray for. I'm going to pray that the media get out of that town and let these families rest and let them heal and let them lay their loved ones into the ground and into God's hands without some camera going click, 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 and some reporter yelling, "So how does it feel?" That's what I'm going to pray for. And whatever you do, just pray.